Restas Kräfte Antis. Welcome, video lovers. Welcome to TechNerd 1.0. Folks, this is a follow-up video to one that I'm going to post up here. This was my restoration project of this beautiful Marlin 81 22 bolt action rifle. And as you can see, things went pretty well. They didn't start going really well, but they finally did end up well. So what all did we do to this rifle? Well, first and foremost, I did end up replacing the stock. It was I did try to I sanded it down, stained it, tried just boiled linseed oil, then I stained it, went back, stripped it again. I could not. There were large splotches of darkness in it. It looked terrible. I don't know what that was. I could not get it out. So I did end up just getting a new stock, and this one was pretty darn good as is. I did not refinish this one. I just put boiled linseed oil over it, and we did a little bit of polishing on it, and that was really it. That was it for it. Also, replaced the sling, got new sling studs for it, tried to get them as close to period correct as I could, so these are not removable. Got a sling again that was about as close as I could to the original. They have this older style military sling. Most of the pictures I found of the 81 and 81DL had this type of sling on it, as I believe a lot of people did use these for trainers. What else did we do? I ended up putting this Williams sight on the back of it, this Williams peep sight, and ended up replacing the front with this fiber optic sight to assist my very old eyes. Now there is obviously an OEM sight that goes in here. I could find some, but they were incredibly expensive, and I just didn't want to go to that much, and I knew that I wanted a fiber optic sight in front anyways, again, to assist with my limited vision. So just as a recap of the history in my previous video, this rifle was first made in the 1940s and went on to be produced up until about 1970-ish. It was considered to be a very accurate and rugged rifle, highly prized by small game hunters. I would say primarily, again, because of its good construction, Marlin made products that were second to none, but I would say primarily its long barrel. This rifle has a 24-inch barrel, which is quite long. It makes it very quiet, very stealthy. You can really reach out and touch those squirrels right up in the tree, almost like you're standing right next to them. I did test this out at the range. Unfortunately, I did not get the footage, but I will post that later when possible. But it is quite accurate, I must say. The rifle is tube fed, as you can see here, just like other tube fed magazines, something like on a Henry. You just pull it over and then back in and you're good to go. And you can see it feeds in right there. Now I did, when I bought this, as I explained again in my first video, I did have to source a new magazine tube. However, that was not hard at all. They were quite readily available. Everything works on the rifle. Action was a little rough when we started, but after a little cleaning and lubing, it got quite good. Safety works quite fine. Let's go ahead and test the trigger. Now, I don't think this one is going to be as light as some modern pistols, but it's pretty good. I'd say 5.5 pounds. Let's try it one more time. And again, about 5.5 pounds. So not terrible, but not, I would say, not, definitely not great as well. Not compared to today's standards, I would say. That being said, the rifle is quite accurate. I also did replace the cap on the back. Now this is a reproduction Marlin butt plate, but it does fit quite nice. Looks good. Again, this was a great project. By the time I was done refinishing this and getting all the new equipment on it, I definitely could have bought a new rifle for much cheap. I probably could have bought a literal Marlin 81 with everything except for the original rear sight for cheaper. The Auctions in general nowadays, it's very hard to get a good deal on any sort of firearms. People bid them up way farther than really what they need to be. And again, that is unfortunate. But this one I was able to get, I think, just because of the state that it was in and because it did not have the magazine tube. But again, after purchasing a new stock, the magazine tube, and everything else, I probably could have just bought Marlin 81 off of another site for cheaper. Now, these do appear in stores and thrift stores and such. I would say not common, but with regularity, definitely you will find these. And I would suggest picking one up. If you're looking for a bolt action 22 rifle, I would say grab one of these. If they're not too much money, if you can get one fairly cheap, I would say go for it. Definitely, if you can get one for the same price or less or even close to it, than you would pay for one of the polymer bolt action guns like one of the Rossies or something like that. I think this is going to serve you much better. First off, you're going to get a much longer barrel because it is very uncommon to find anyone making a rifle with that long of a barrel these days. It's just not that common anymore. And if it is done, they're probably quite a bit more money. And additionally, you're going to get this beautiful wooden stock, which adds a good deal of weight to the rifle, which does improve accuracy and handling, as well as it just being aesthetically very pleasing. If you are just looking for something cheap, though, I'm sure like I said, one of the Rossies or something like that, at one of your big box stores would do you just fine. But I do think that something like this has a very classic appeal to it. And again, it's going to be very rugged, very reliable, and extremely accurate. You're going to be able to take one of these rifles, go out with your friends, and you're going to be able to challenge them with targets right out of the box with their brand new weapons and their fancy ammo. And you're going to be able to use probably off the shelf stuff and do just as well or better, I would say. So what have I tested with this? Well, I have tested this Aguila 40 grain, does very well with that. Now, the normal capacity for this rifle is about 17 rounds. I would say with 22 shorts, probably more than that. I would say maybe 18, 19, something like that. Would it shoot 22 long? I would say probably would. However, you're unlikely to find those in stores. You're probably just going to find 22 long rifle or 22 short, as well as some of these quiet ones, such as this CCI Quiet 22 or these Aguila, these Super Calibres. Now, these are quite good. These are very quiet. I have heard some people have said do not shoot these out of a very long rifled weapon because they might not have enough oomph to make it through the whole barrel. I don't know if I believe that or not. You be the judge. Don't do what I do. All right, folks, so that is about it. That is how our project turned out. That is the beautiful Marlin 81. And we will get out and do some shooting footage with this, and I'll show you just how accurate this can be. But as I said, would I buy one of these if they came up in an auction or at one of your local stores or a pawn shop? I would say absolutely. I would go for it. No, YouTube does not mean I am selling this one. I am certainly not doing that. I am just providing educational services. All right, folks, that's about it. That's all we have for you. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or requests, put them down here in the doobly-doo. If you would please like, share, and subscribe, and fire off a shot at that bell notification to make sure you are updated with all of our videos as they drop. Folks, this is Tac Nerd signing out.